toy.
We're wanted men.
I have spoken.
Afternoon, Jason. How you doing today?
Good afternoon. I'm doing well. Yourself?
I'm good.
A little punchy.
Yeah, dude, it makes some good shows. How'd you get everything cleaned up from last night?
Yeah. Well, yeah, we're pretty much close to being all cleaned up at this point. We just got lots of food to clean up.
No. Yeah.
So my wife had so everybody listening, my wife got her master's degree yesterday, and we had a little party for her. We expected about 60 people, and we were preparing for about 60 people and about 20, 25. And I get it. It's one of the hottest days in Georgia. We didn't get the full heat wave that the rest of the country got, but it was pretty hot.
Yes, it was.
And then there's also the Delta variant.
Yeah. There's that.
But yeah, we rented tables. So I got to return the tables tomorrow, and then we got tents and all that stuff. And I was out there today trying to clean everything up before the heat kicked in. So I got it all done.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah, it was a fun night, man.
Lots of karaoke.
Yes, there was. I am not going to ever turn down an invitation to you for karaoke, because that was some
And
fun.
my wife's like, Glenn is a pretty interesting cat. She liked all your karaoke choices.
Right. Well, I asked, and normally when I go to karaoke, it's in bars, so I don't have to, worry about kids running around and stuff. And I asked about my second song in, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to do Sweet Transvestite. Anybody have a problem with it? And they said, do it. So I did it. And, you got to get that Frankenfurter, going. And I think people enjoyed it.
Yep. I got my Smash Mouth on. You didn't hear New York, New York. I closed out the night with that one.
Oh.
But
Do you have like a go-to set that you sing every time y'all do it?
I tried to stop singing New York, New York now that I live in Georgia. I probably should learn Georgia on my mind or something.
Uh-huh.
But it's usually Sinatra.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I was talking, there was one lady there. I should have got her name, but she seemed to be like the life of the party. And she's like, I got my list on my phone, and this is what I do. And every time
Deanna.
I go, huh?
Deanna.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dude, I hope she took that tequila, because she was all excited.
She was ecstatic with that tequila. And she's like, it's a wash too, because Glenn got it at another party for free. So I'm just taking it from another party for free.
Exactly. That's what happens when liquor gets left and I'm the last one to leave. It will go home with me.
Yep. I bought too much beer because we, again, expected, my wife had a whole calculator. I know this is not Star Wars, but whatever. She had a whole calculator to figure out, okay, 60 people coming times one drink per hour equals this much beer. And we just have so much beer, it could fill the sail barge there. I brought it back to Star Wars.
There you go.
But I got shiners for you. So you got tons of shiners to take home. And
Yo.
It was good.
Yeah, it was a good night, man. Congratulations, Shannon.
Thanks.
Even though she's never going to hear this.
No, she's not. But it's out in the universe now. You've said it.
Yes. I do have to handle a little bit of housekeeping, because I told this guy I was going to shout him out the last podcast, and I didn't. And he's going down to Florida and had his whole family with him in the car, and they all made fun of him because I didn't shout him out. Yeah.
Oh no.
But Alfonso Riviera, man, he did all the new graphics for us, and every week when we have a new graphic that pops up on Facebook and Instagram and everything, he's doing that for us. And he messaged me a couple of weeks ago and was just like, "Guy, you know, I love the podcast. I want to do this for you guys." And I guess he's a graphic designer by nature, or does it in his free time. And I just wanted to give him a shout out because he's got a Facebook page. It's called Rock the Toys. And he's got a few other podcasts that he's got some Spanish language podcasts that he does, but look up Rock the Toys and you can find them. And, you know, if you're looking for some graphic design stuff, I'm sure he'll be glad to help you out. But
wonderful.
Yes. And he's been a loyal supporter for a few months. So if we can have like 100 people like him, it'd be awesome.
I feel like it's the calm before the storm. It's here we are, August 1st. You know, we got Book of Boba coming out soon. We've got that new Mandalorian season 2 finale series coming out. It's just one episode, one special about the whole Luke Skywalker thing.
Right.
So I would imagine we're going to see a trailer soon for that, for Book of Boba. But yeah, it's kind of quiet right now.
Yeah, I did see somebody post a picture of Mark Hamill in full Jedi gear holding Baby Yoda with R2 right next to him on whatever bridge that starship they were on. But I was in the car and I didn't get a chance to click on it to see what the story was.
That's a legitimate photo.
Right.
Yeah, that's not Photoshop or anything like that. That's real.
Right, but it was like old school Mark Hamill with beard and all holding Baby Yoda.
Old Mark Hamill with the goatee and everything.
Right.
But we were talking about the deepfakes, and come to find out the dude that made the deepfake on YouTube has been hired by Lucasfilm.
Good for him, man. That's everybody's dream, right?
Yeah. So he went back and he took Mark Hamill and he did a deepfake. And what a deepfake is, for people who don't know, they take as many photos as they can of a subject, usually within the same time period. So it'd be a young Mark Hamill, maybe from Return of the Jedi. And then they would scan it into the computer, and then an AI will digitally go frame by frame, take all the reference photos and overlay it on top of the subject photo. And they usually look really, really good, not great, because there's usually some sort of skin tonal thing going on because the face is a different color than the neck. Or maybe I've seen some with Tom Cruise. There's somebody who does impersonations of Tom Cruise, but his face is a bit thinner. So and so what that does is it kind of pushes in Tom Cruise's face and it doesn't look exact. You're just like the jaw's off a little bit. So you really need to you have to have somebody with the same frame as the actor, like the same kind of facial structure as the actor, and then it's easier for the computer to match everything up and look seamless. So maybe it's going to be a combination of ILM stretching faces, and then he's going to like put the AI stuff on top of that and make it look, or the deep fake on top of that, make it look really awesome.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. You know, like I hope if they're going to do like a Star or have Luke in this new thing, they just recast him, because there's no way, I don't think that stuff can hold up for an hour. But you never know, man. It's Lucas.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Paul McCartney, I think I mentioned this last week. He's got that new music video, and that looks flawless.
I should have watched it just because of what you said, just because you said it was so good.
Yeah. Anyways.
Have you,
I'm going to go through my pickups this week.
Do it.
Because I got 2, and then you've knocked it out of the park this week.
I really freaking did.
But my Boba Fett helmet, my Black Series, did come in, and I love this helmet. I put it next to the Don Bluth one that I had. Not Don Bluth. Don Post. The Don Post mask, and it's just like light years ahead of what we used to have. Mm-hmm. It's awesome, and it fits my face.
Nice.
It does go over. I guess I was afraid to commit to yours, because like if I get it on and I can't take it off, then what?
Right.
But I'm able to do it with this one.
Yeah, I mean, for $120.
Yep.
It's a fat ass helmet for $120.
Yeah,
I think all the Black Series helmets are great. I mean, they're like a good 5 to 10 foot helmet. I mean, when you get close and start looking at them, you can tell differences. but sitting on a shelf, or if you're passing somebody, if you want to do a cheap cosplay, that's where it's at, man. Those Black Series helmets.
But they are not 501st approved because there are like buttons on the side which are not part of the original costume. I think with the exception of the Kylo Ren mask.
Yeah.
The rest of them are not 501st approved, but it gets you pretty close to the finish line.
Right. Well, if you're not trying to go for 501st, it'd be great.
Yep.
Or Mandalorian Mercs, rather.
Yeah, it's a pretty awesome helmet.
Yeah.
Like you, I have to take that inner piece out that goes on the top to kind of, like if you're a kid and you got a smaller helmet, it doesn't sink all the way to your shoulders. It kind of holds it up a little bit. I have to take that out.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yes.
And then the other thing I picked up were the prototype Boba Fett's.
Yes.
Yes. I got lucky. I was looking at the app and the app said Target didn't have it. And I'm like, it was 7:30 in the morning. I'm like, I'm just going to go check it out. And so I get into Target like 4 or 5 minutes early. They had already opened the doors when I got there. The lights were off like in the toy section. So I'm walking in the back and I had a barcode. So I scanned it on their computers and it said nothing in stock, nothing in the area. So I'm like, I'm just going to ask someone just to be careful and to be safe. And I went up to somebody in the toy section and I said, hey, do you have this? And she's like, is it the Boba Fett? Yes. She's like, I'll be right back. So she went in the back and she grabbed the box and she brought them all out. And some dude, while I was waiting, walked up and I guess he's part of the 501st. He dresses as Boba Fett. He's going to get married to his wife at Dragon Con. So he wanted as many as he could get for gifts for his wedding.
Right.
So I got 2, one for me, one for you, and then he took the rest.
Right. Awesome. Yeah, and I already put that thing in a case and it's sitting on my shelf of Bobas.
Awesome.
Yes. So thanks for
That's all I got this week.
Yeah. And I did hear that they're restocking. Somebody said that they're restocking here soon.
Yeah, it's a week later, August 1st, and people have already picked them up. There was a restock this morning.
Right. And I tried to restock, I think, that Monday just to get another one just for grins and giggles. And I always, every time I put it in my cart, it kicked me out. It would say something was wrong or it wouldn't let me log in. So
yeah. I was trying to get one for Jerry too, and it's getting the same thing. Right.
Yeah. All right. Yes, I did a pretty freaking epic. It has not come in yet. I think they're gonna put it in the mail tomorrow. But
okay.
Yeah, Deal or No Deal killed me. You tagged me in it, which started this, but I found bits and pieces of hard copies for the OG Bill and Ted line. So I've got a Grim Reaper torso and a leg, and then both of his accessories. He came with the guitar and a sickle, and I got both of those. And then the next day, the guy posted more, saying he had a Bill head and then the Billy the Kid legs. And when he figured out that I was buying more from him, he threw in a Genghis Khan accessory. So I'll have like almost a piece from every figure. So I think I need Bill, Abe, and Rufus to have a piece left, to have a piece from a hard copy piece of every figure from the Bill and Ted line. Awesome. Yeah. So yeah. And if anybody
Back to the Future, sorry, go ahead.
Yes, if anybody wants some Back to the Future Funko Pops or some Wayne's World Pops, I would sell my X-Files Pops for the right price. But yeah, anybody wants those, message me and I'll hook you up, because it's time to get rid of some Pops so I can buy more toys. Finally.
Yeah, when it rains, it pours.
Yes, it really does, man. It's crazy, because that's why I'm careful with what I buy, because when the big stuff comes around, I want to be able to buy it. You don't get an opportunity like that. But I don't want to say once in a lifetime, but it's almost once in a lifetime, and you gotta have the reserves ready to go when it happens.
Yeah, something like that is once in a lifetime, because it could get locked up in a black hole and no one will ever see it again.
Right. Oh, I want to be that black hole.
and no one will ever see it again.
Exactly. Because, I mean, truthfully, when you think about it, you can't touch a Star Wars hard copy right now unless you're going to spend $10,000 to $15,000, if not more.
Yeah.
It'd probably be more than that. And then when you're, and then and that's probably talking Power of the Force stuff, Power of the Force 2 stuff. For vintage, you're probably talking $50,000 to $100,000 for a vintage hard copy.
Yeah.
So if you can do something for a toy line, get a hard copy for a toy line that you like, why not, man? Got to do it. So I'm looking forward for those coming in. And I'll more updates. I'm sure I'll post them on the page, but I'm looking forward to it. It was an exciting day. And the guy, I was at work, and the guy sitting next to me, he's like, "You're doing what? You're buying what?" And I explained it to him, and it just totally went over his head. But he's not into toys.
Yeah.
So.
Which is an interesting. It's a good pivot, because I wanted to talk today. Did you have anything else?
Did you watch any of the He-Man stuff? I mean, I know we're going off topic, but
I watched the first episode.
Okay.
I've just been busy, and it's not because I'm angry or anything, because I've heard rumors.
Okay. Well,
I've heard chatter.
It's good. We'll talk about it when you watch it.
All right.
We'll go back to it. Circle back around.
I was surprised with that first episode, how it ends.
Right. And I mean, it's great. I don't want to spoil it for you. So it's good. And we'll circle back around when you watch it.
I still have to watch the latest episode of Bad Batch as well.
Jeez, dude, you never sat down last night. We were talking to Shannon, your wife, and she was just like, "Yeah, he doesn't sit down. He just keeps moving."
Friday night was a Braves game at company picnic thing, so I think this is the first time I sat down all weekend long.
Wow. So one more announcement. Next weekend, the 7th, is the Powder Springs Toy Swap. So it'll probably be hot, but I'm still planning on going out there.
Yeah, I think I'm going too. I don't think I have anything going on next weekend on purpose.
Right.
But now I do, so I guess it didn't work out for me.
Awesome. Yeah, all this other stuff we can hit later. Unless you want to talk about the What If figures that just came out and bitch about Hasbro some more.
Oh, I was trying to avoid that this week. Why would you pull me in? I got out.
Because it's too much fun to talk about, man.
Well, they did start with the so Marvel has released more of their Marvel Legends figures, the 6-inch figures, and they have the What If, and they're done really well. They look like the animated version of the characters, but they did this with the Into the Spider-Verse stuff, and they started making the characters to look like the animated version and not the realistic version, which is pretty much in the rest of that line.
Mm-hmm.
And so Hasbro has been adamant about the Black Series for Star Wars, is that these are the realistic versions of the figure. So when you go to the Rebels, they all look more like a real person and not the animated version. But with these 3 Walmart exclusives that took us, the Gennady Tartakovsky Clone Wars, like, are they making the clone Captain General Grievous and Mace Windu? Are they going to make them look animated like these Marvel Legend figures, which goes against everything that they've done before? Who knows? And this would be what, the 3rd time they've released Mace Windu?
Jeez.
Because he's on the episode 1 card. He's in the black one, the black red line, whatever you want to call it, Black Series. So they're going to do it again?
Right. Freaking, yeah. Why? I don't know, dude. Why? It definitely feels like Lucasfilm has Hasbro by the throat or something. They're not really, they're doing something, because if Marvel can do this stuff that's not even out yet, Lucasfilm's got to have a reason behind it. They got to do something, and I don't know what it is. And maybe it's they're still going by that Matrix they had back in the day.
Well, I scratched my head, because with there's like a double standard. Like Marvel doesn't get the same treatment as Star Wars, and you look at the Shang-Chi wave of figures. There's not a single repack. It's not like they've got their Mace Windu again, or this What If line. There's no old figures. There's no repurposed molds. It's just all kind of fresh and new. And I just don't understand how we can get 8 figures from Marvel Legends brand new, followed by another 8 figures Marvel Legends brand new, and then we just get constant repacks and repaints in the Star Wars line.
Right. I mean, the only thing I can think of is we've got to vote with our money, man. And maybe they just think that we're a bunch of suckers and we'll buy anything that they put out. And if we stop buying, that'll fix everything.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not getting into the carbonized, and there's no carbonized equivalent to Marvel.
Right. They hadn't done that,
and I will say, like, Walrus Man, Ponda Baba, he's got that new figure coming out for the Cantina set, and they reused some of Luke Skywalker for that, and I'm okay with that because it looks different.
Right.
It's a brand new figure.
No, I agree with that. I mean, if you're going to reuse bits and pieces, because Kenner did that forever, they would find something that worked and then they'd keep bringing it back in different lines. I just saw somebody post something that a bunch of the toys from MacGyver were recycled G.I. Joe parts. So, I mean, I have no problem with that because that's something they've done forever. I mean, that guy from Battle Cat from He-Man was a Big Joe cat from the original Big Joe line, or I know I'm wrong, but somebody email me and tell me the right one. But them recycling parts, I have no problem with that. It's the constant repaint that I have issues with.
Yes, I do too, obviously.
Right.
I wasn't going to talk about this week. I was going to try not to complain about Hasbro and have one complete free episode.
Well, we'll just never get free crap from Hasbro. So
maybe. Number of episodes without complaining about Hasbro. Take down that 1 and circle in a 0.
Take a break and we'll be right back.
So I actually had a dream that I misspoke while recording the show, and can't remember the length I gave, but I think the answer to the question everybody was looking for is the inner length of the filament part of the saber, which is 35 millimeters, if it's correct. Usually when they're shorter, you can see some evidence of chewing or clip mark at the end. It won't be, kind of as uniform, but if you're looking for one and you want to check, 35 millimeters is the correct full length.
Oh man, that was me last night. Oh, dude, it for karaoke. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna throw it to the wall and I'm just gonna go for it and F it.
Cypress Hill.
And no, that was House of Pain.
House of Pain. I'm sorry, you're right.
And I did Jump Around, and there's a lot of words in that song, and then like a 3-minute song, and about halfway through it, I'm just like, I've got to get my breath. It was bad, but nobody seemed to notice, which was great.
Yep.
My wife captured it all too. She's got it all on video. I haven't had the balls to rewatch it yet because it scares me.
Yeah, it's fun. It's all in good fun.
Yeah. So our topic tonight, where I pulled you away, let's go back that way. What were you going to talk about, Jason?
Yeah, so you were talking about how you were picking those hard copies up from Deal or No Deal, and you were telling a coworker who knows nothing about toys and cares nothing about toys, and you get people who come into our collections and they're kind of in that same boat. And I'm trying to figure out, because they're like, they come into the room and they're enchanted by what they see, but they're not a collector and they have no baseline of understanding. And I start to explain things to them, and I kind of get the sense that I'm just going in too much detail for them. And so I'm just like, how do you give a presentation of your display room, your collection, without boring them? is it maybe, and this just might be me in my head, but do we just scratch the surface and just take them through it, or are they looking? I don't know. I just don't know what the answer is.
Right. Dude, I discovered and I was thinking about this last night because this is something we brought up last week about that we were going to cover. And I went to use your restroom, and the restroom's right off the collection room. And as I'm walking through the collection room, I guess it was your niece that showed up late with the cord. Or
Yes.
She was there with her friend, and your niece has seen your room before, but the friend, I guess, had never seen it. And just the look on her face was like, what the hell, man? What's wrong with this guy?
So, I didn't get that at all. I didn't get that feeling.
No, but you could just see your niece was showing it all off, because she'd seen it. You could tell she's seen it before, so she was ready for it. But her friend was just like, whoa. And yeah, I get the same thing. And it is, you do have people the first time that have no clue what you've got and really don't give a crap about toys. Their look on their face when they come into a collection, they don't know what to expect. And I have that same issue. It's like, you start explaining people, oh, this is a hard copy, or this is this, or, hey, if you look at this little piece right here, this is different than this one. And they don't care. But then you go, this is Luke Skywalker, and you're like, wow.
Yeah.
I've got 50 of them.
There's the Falcon right there. Okay,
right.
Bye.
Yeah. Where's that ship? Which one? So it is. I don't. How do you tackle it? How do you? Do you just? Yeah, I think it is the best way to do when somebody new walks into your collection is just kind of let them absorb it first, and then then you can kind of scratch the surface. But you can't go too deep because unless they're into the nuances of anything, or they're very detailed oriented, they just don't give a crap. I think.
Yeah. I go.
No, they're in shock because you have so much.
My daughter had friends over, showing them the room, and the thing they took away was that it was cool that I still had my micro machines from when I was a kid. And that was it. I'm like, out of everything in this room, you only cared about the micro machines that I had since I was 12.
Wow. But I mean, dude, that is one cool part of your collection, that you have the toys you played with when you were 12.
Yeah, that those survived.
Right, that they survived, and you thought about, you either you built them back up, or you got a complimentary piece so you can display one open and one closed, and you've really thought out your collection, your display. So as much as you make fun of that, that's a really cool part of your collection.
Yeah. And then last night, I mean, this is not about how do you present it, but last night I was, making the food and everything, getting things ready, and people were walking through the room, and I wasn't even there to give them the tour. My wife was doing it.
Oh, man.
Which was frustrating. I want to be there.
Yeah, I want to show you my stuff, because actually my wife, she got not onto me that bad, but when you had come over the other night and she went to bed, and I'm like, come see your room. And when I went in the bedroom, she's like, I wanted to show off my room.
Because that's her collection, not yours.
Right.
So I guess the thing to do is just let people walk around and see, and then when they get close to something, be like, yeah, that's from so and so. Like I showed a couple kids the 40 the Star Wars Boba Fett offer, what do they call them, Death Squadron Commander. That's not his name, but anyways, I'm like, that's from the original Star Wars. They're like, what? And I'm like, that's about 40 years old. And they're like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool.
They're like, that's as old as Mom.
That's as old as me.
I think, truthfully, that's what blows a lot of people's minds, especially little kids, is when they realize how old the stuff is.
Yeah.
And how good they've held up over the years.
Right.
But it's a weird time when you get somebody new coming into your collection, and they don't know what to expect. They don't know, they think you're crazy for having this much stuff. Cause I had one guy from my work come to my house because he was doing side work, and he put a hot water heater in my house. And I was like, dude, you got to at least look at it so you could tell people about it, because I'm legend, you know. People are like, you've got a room full of Star Wars crap. And I was like,
I'm legend.
It's not that much. But then you look around, and I was going through stuff last night trying to make room for stuff. And I'm like, I really do have a lot of crap. It's all over the place.
It's all over the place, and I'm running out of space.
Yes.
That's a problem now too.
Yeah, I mean, what has been what else has been your experience when you have a new person come into your room?
I mean, I got all this stuff on the pegs, and they just assume that it's all the same. Like,
Right.
I've collected 6 Luke Skywalkers, and I have them all on the peg, and it's like, no, those are all different. Go in there, dig through like a toy store. That's another thing people say. It's like a toy store, but nothing's for sale, people. But yeah, like they just don't care. They don't get into the weeds like we do. And so, like, these are the Black Series. This is the new stuff. And I kind of have everything arranged from Power of the Force 2 all the way to the vintage collection. So it's in some sort of chronological order. But people just want to look. I don't think they want to hear all the details. If they ask, then I'll tell them. Maybe that's the approach I take is, let me know if you have any questions from now on.
Right. Because the general person's not going to know what a hard copy is, or what's a prototype, or why do you have so many? I guess the best thing to do is, like, you know, I collect Wampas. They're like, why do you have so many Wampas? Well, that's what my grandkids call me, so that's why I have them. Or why do you have so many Boba Fetts? You know, well, Boba Fett's pretty badass, and that T-visor, you know, just that's what I love about him. And I guess that would be the best thing to do, is just say, you know, this is why I collect, and you know, attack it from that angle versus going into the deep dive.
Maybe. Yeah. I'll have to start thinking about that.
Right. It definitely is a challenge. And then when you have the collectors that have been collecting forever, and then they start telling you about your collection, that's fun too.
Yeah.
You know, when they know every nuance, and they're like, this is wrong and that's wrong, and hold on a minute. And I will tell you one thing, Jason, that last night when I was walking through your room, or walking past your room, you've got some guts putting your TV up in there, man. Cause you know, you've had just random people in there watching TV. And to me, I don't trust people enough to do that.
Oh, they're basically family, but yeah, no, I get it. If I didn't know them, that wouldn't happen.
Right. I don't even trust my family. I wouldn't trust them to be in here.
They're not going to do anything.
Right.
I don't have a Wii in here. You know, you have that remote that attaches to your hands. You're swinging things. Like, I have lightsabers. If kids come into the room, I go, take the lightsabers outside. Swing and hit your faces all you want, just not in this room.
Right. Yeah, that's the one thing that when we were playing pool at Narayan's, he's got a display case propped up in the perfect spot for if you ever make a break and the ball jumps the table, it's going right into it. Yeah. So we had to rearrange stuff, or if it gets kind of tight in there, and he's got these really cool glass display cases that, you know, it wouldn't take much to put a ball through them, which, you know, hey, more power to him. Huh?
I'm looking around my room right now, just checking if there's anything out of place. I don't see anything out of place.
Right.
But, you know, if something's gone and I don't realize it, do I miss it?
Right.
I mean, there's no gaps in my Pez. I've got all the figures on the shelf there.
Oh, man. Dude, I was at Second Chance yesterday.
Yeah.
And he came in, they had a lady in there that was dropping some stuff off, and wow, he got a good collection, because I sent you that button. But then I'm like, message, and then he had like a watch. He had like one of the buttons with the old school Star Wars logo on it, where the W is like drawn out. It's not the typical W we know. And there's
pointed bottom.
Yes, the one with the pointed bottoms on it.
Yeah.
And it's a cool logo, and it didn't last long, and there's people that chase that logo. But you said Pez, and that's kind of got me. She had one of the original Pez with like no feet in that collection.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Which
So
which character was it?
it was it had a skull. It looked like an astronaut helmet with a skull.
Oh, okay. It wasn't Star Wars.
No, it wasn't Star Wars. That's what Chance was like. He was like, "What show is that from?" And I'm like, dude, it's a time before everybody had to have IPs. You didn't need, people didn't need Star Wars to buy crap. They
Right.
could just buy it because they thought it looked cool. And he was just freaking out. But
Right.
yeah. And then she had a little ET charm that they go, "Hey, look at this." And I was like, "Oh yeah, that's cool." And I say, "Yeah, my wife collects ET and everything." And then next thing I know, she's like, "You take this and give it to your wife." So it kind of
Aw.
made, yeah, it made my wife's day. So she got a little ET
That's
charm.
sweet.
Yeah. It was cool.
E.T. went home.
Yes, it did. And it
With
was one my
Glenn.
wife, yeah. And it was one my wife didn't have. So it was kind of cool. Speaking of old school movies, have you seen the new Ghostbusters?
The trailer?
The trailer.
Yes. I was so ecstatic when I saw it.
Yeah.
You?
Yeah, I did, dude. And I told my wife, I'm like, I'm not a Ghostbusters fan. I enjoyed Ghostbusters, but I haven't seen it in 20 years. Yeah, I have no desire to go back and watch it, but maybe I do now. Maybe I will now. But those movies that trailer got me excited, man.
Ghostbusters is a perfect comedy for me.
Is it?
Yeah, I love Ghostbusters so much. I have a Stay Puft Marshmallow Man costume.
Is it like inflatable?
It's inflatable. And so it's just the body and the arms. It comes with white gloves. And then it kind of ties off at your ankles. So you can like have shoes showing unless you get like white shoes. And then it comes with a mask that you put over your head. And I did it because we were doing another United Way booth. It was Ghostbusters for United Way, obviously. And so I was dressed up as Stay Puft, and some of the other people I worked with were dressed up as Ghostbusters. And I put on the costume for the first time, and I was walking around the house acting like Stay Puft, kind of moving slowly and crunching as I walked. Like, because when Stay Puft, he each step he takes it's like he makes this crunching sound. So I was walking around the house, and I go like, tell my wife, this is a lot more fun than I thought it would be. It was fun. So I love Ghostbusters, and that trailer just spoke to me.
Yeah, and then like the last 10 seconds of the trailer, first they have the receptionist pop up, and you're like, dude, it's the receptionist. And then the last 10 seconds of the trailer, you're like, oh crap.
Yep. Ray Stantz in his occult bookstore.
Right.
Ghostbusters 2 hanging out still.
Right. So that's who Dan Aykroyd's character is, right?
Ray Stantz, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because
Peter Venkman wasn't shown, but Peter Venkman is in the movie. That's Bill Murray.
Well, you see, yeah, that's how much I know about Ghostbusters. I don't even know if I've seen Ghostbusters 2, so maybe I need to catch up on that.
That's all right. That's all right. I mean, if you want to watch it, go ahead, but Ghostbusters is pretty perfect.
Right. But what were you going to say?
I have some theories about how the movie's going to play out. I don't want to spoil anything for anyone. I have no inside knowledge or anything like that, but I do think that Harold Ramis's character, oh dang it. Spangler.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's passed, obviously, because Harold Ramis is passed, but I think his ghost is going to appear because at one point, Jason Reitman, the writer and director for Ghostbusters Afterlife, this new one, was saying that he was going through all the footage from the original Ghostbusters for a special project.
Oh, wow.
And I think they're looking at all the deleted scenes because that's what he was saying. He was looking at alternative takes and deleted scenes. And I think they're going to be pulling dialogue from that to recycle for this. I think at some point we'll see the original Ghostbuster, Harold Ramis's character back as a ghost digitally.
Right. And then do you have any other theories?
I do think that Zool, Zool, right?
Yes.
I think she's back.
I
I
think
think
I
it's all
saw there was something that looked very similar to her in
yeah.
for
And
like
then
a split second.
the demon dogs are back, so I would imagine she's back. Gozer.
Right. And then people were kind of mad at Hasbro Pulse because they kind of spoiled it, but the last 10 seconds of that thing spoiled it because
Yeah,
they
but
had,
that
huh?
was it was just Dan Aykroyd, and the toys. Go ahead, they showed more than the movie trailer.
Right. Yeah, you're right. They showed the OG, the three that are left in aged in Ghostbuster uniforms.
And Lucasfilm is in the corner with their arms crossed, saying, "This is why they didn't get to see Grogu."
Right. Which, hey, makes sense. But, I did have Grogu ruined for me, spoiled for me because somebody had posted, was that a baby Yoda? Which I didn't get at the time. But then, you're like, oh, there it is. So, yeah, they did kind of spoil some of that movie for you. And they put the kids in the Ghostbuster uniforms.
Yeah. Well, one of them is in. No, they're not. So yeah, they spoiled that.
Right. So, way to go, Hasbro Pulse.
So when they spoiled Grogu for you, was that like the day of?
Yeah, it was somebody. You know how because I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it first thing. I think I watched it. Well, no. What happened was we were waiting for. My wife didn't want to sign up for Disney Plus because Verizon, I guess, was doing it for free. So I was like, I just want to sign up for the month so I can watch this show because I can't get on social media and it's spoiled and blah. And we need to handle this now. And my wife was dragging her feet, and I'm just sitting there throwing it baby fit. I am sitting there like a 5-year-old on the trampoline at 9 o'clock at night that is tired. And, I want to go home, but, I'm throwing a fit and she just is sitting, so finally we sign up for it. So it was like, I didn't get to watch the original. I mean, the first first episode of Mandalorian for like a day or two because we were waiting to sign up for Disney Plus. So, but yes, what had happened was I was trying to avoid social media, and somebody had posted, "Was that a Baby Yoda?" And I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh." So it didn't have the shock and awe to me, but I don't, I think like hearing that Darth Maul was in it, or hearing, like the Grand Admiral Thrawn, that would have made me more mad than anything. Like Darth Maul in Solo when that was spoiled for some people because that
Yeah.
was a cool reveal. That I think was an awesome reveal.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Yeah. So, but it's like our buddy Ted said when he got Luke, I'm your father spoiled for him. He didn't really care.
Right.
But
sometimes the journey is just as good as the destination. We got to remember that.
Right. Yeah. But I was talking to my wife about that one day about the whole, imagine seeing that in the theater. And I was kind of getting choked up, and she's like, are you choked up about that? I'm like, yeah, because we grew up knowing Luke, Darth Vader's Luke's father, but then hearing that in the theater 40 years ago when, no social media, no nothing, ultimate spoiler,
Yeah. It's just like that Simpsons episode when Homer's walking out and I can't believe Darth Vader was Luke's father the whole time, and everyone's in line waiting to go into the next show, and they get mad at him.
Damn it, Homer.
That was early internet right there. That's what that is.
Yeah. That's why you don't listen, and you're like, la, 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 la.
Yeah. Earmuffs. Don't want to hear it.
But
yeah, I often wonder what it would be like. I've talked about this before, going back to seeing Return of the Jedi on the screen and just remembering the colors from the end scene as Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker fight. But I can't imagine seeing a twist like that in the theater back then.
Right. That would have been... Well, we got sort of the same thing with Phantom Menace when you saw Yoda break out that lightsaber. Or was that Phantom Menace?
No, that was Attack of the Clones. I was going to let it slide until you questioned it.
Attack of the Clones. Say I need to go back and rewind. Go ahead.
No, I just it was on the tip of my tongue, but I was holding back. I didn't want to correct you.
So people are yelling at me in their cars. I just caused like 20 wrecks on 285 or whatever freeway you guys use.
75, 95, 85,
Right.
81,
On your way to
whatever.
work. But yeah, I mean, yeah, that just seeing a theater explode for that was incredible. You know, everybody cheering and stuff. But
Yeah.
it definitely Star Wars has lost that, I think, over the last three films, because when it came out, when Force Awakens came out, everybody was like, it was a buzz about it, and by the second film, nobody gave a crap. You know, you'd
Yeah,
show up
the
to
energies.
yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, go.
No,
You
but
go.
you were you know, you'd show up to the theater like an hour early, even though you had assigned seats, just to be in that crowd. And then by the second film, nobody was showing up till the movie started.
Yeah. I also think that the sequel trilogy, I don't remember if I've mentioned this before, is missing the Fox fanfare, the brum bum brum bum bum bum. And that just, for me, mentally puts me into, for no other movie that does this, it's just the Star Wars movie, but it's just like, ladies and gentlemen, your movie's about to begin when those fanfare comes on.
Right.
But without it, it's just a quiet Lucasfilm and then Star Wars.
Yeah.
It doesn't settle you in. So there's that difference there too for me.
Yeah.
But
anyway, did you watch any of the movies? So now that we're on movies, we're gonna did you watch any of the movies that made us, the ones that just came out?
No, I don't even know if I knew that there was another season.
There's another season. It's Back to the Future. It's Jurassic Park. I think it's Pretty Woman. And there's another one. And I don't know what the other, but there were three of them. Then I'm like, I'll watch those. And I watched the Jurassic Park one, was good. And the Back to the Future one, it was all stuff, being a Back to the Future head and watching stuff about that, you know, already knowing a lot of the stuff. It was cool. They did a little bit more of into the Eric Struthers. Is that
Did
his
they?
name? Yeah, they went into it a little bit more.
Struthers.
Huh?
I don't think it's Struthers. Eric's on, yeah.
Eric Stokes. Stokes. There it is. Stokes. They went a little bit more into that, which was cool. But did you realize who played his girlfriend?
Yes.
I didn't realize it till I put two together, and they showed a picture of her, and I went, "Oh crap! Yes. It's Jan."
Melora Hardin.
Yeah, it's Jan from The Office. It was like, wow, mind blown.
Yeah, there was a weird comic at one point where it was I think a digital comic where Bob Gale, the writer of Back to the Future, went back in time in an actual time machine with Melora Hardin to change the past and to put her back in the movie. It was just so weird.
What?
Yeah, it's a legitimate comic. You can look it up. But Bob Gale, the writer of Back to the Future, I don't think he was the writer of the comic. Maybe he was, but they actually get into a DeLorean together and they kind of reminisce about their time on Back to the Future and how she almost was that character, and then the time machine takes him back, and then she's got this second opportunity to be the character, and it was just this weird, like, why is this a thing? Why is this comic a thing? It was almost like a fantasy almost.
Wow.
Like a personal fantasy. Like, oh, I wonder if I can go back in time with them. So, not Eric Stokes. Melora Hardin.
Right, Melora. Yeah. Well, yeah, because Eric just couldn't play the comedy. He didn't know how.
Yeah, but you would think like Eric's. I mean, that's the Marty McFly character. You would want to make that comic about him going back and being more funny and not playing it as straight as he was.
Right.
Playing it closer to Michael J. Fox.
Right.
But I was watching Discovery. They have the Expedition Unknown. Did you see that Back to the Future one where they're looking for the original DeLoreans?
I did.
They showed something that I had never seen in the 35 years of watching Back to the Future, and I watch it probably a couple times a year. And now it's something I can never unsee. Because back then they didn't have real, actual remote controlled cars. Like we could do that today. They couldn't do that in 1984, 1985. So they had to put someone in a dog costume to do all those scenes where it looks like they're controlling the DeLorean with Einstein in the front seat.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody was in costume. And now that I see that, yes, that's just a freaking costume. It doesn't look like a real dog.
Right.
I can never unsee that.
I'll have to pay attention. Hold on. I had to spit out my eyes. I have to pay attention next time. But one of the things, and they went into why, because a lot of people are pick apart the movie, and there's a lot of continuity errors in the movie.
Yeah.
And they go into why that is, and it's because they just didn't have time, because they lost 6 weeks shooting it with Eric, and they had to reshoot a lot of it with Michael J. Fox. So they had no time to fix a lot of that stuff. They was just, people won't notice, and we'll just go with it.
They have a big paradox in the second one that it's just really tough for me not to look over.
What is it?
Because when Biff takes the almanac in the past, he goes back to the regular future. And after he delivers the almanac, he should be going to the alternate future where he's basically that Donald Trump character. Because he's got all that money.
Yeah, so when they would get back to DeLorean, it wouldn't be there.
Right. So
dude.
You can't unsee that one. Yeah, that one's a bad one.
Right.
Because when they go back in time, they go back to the alternative 1985. So when Biff went forward, he succeeded, and he should be in an alternative 2015.
Damn it, Jason. Why you got to ruin my movie?
I'm sorry. That's the only one that I know of, though.
Right.
As far as paradoxes.
Well, and then speaking of paradoxes, when they did the first table read with Eric, he finished the table read and he looked up at everybody and goes, "This movie's sad." And they were like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Think about it. He comes back to a future that he doesn't remember. And his whole life that he knows is gone. And everybody's changed when he gets back to 1985. Yeah. And he doesn't remember any of it.
Everything's been improved, though, so I think that's why that slides.
Right.
But there's that movie About Time with Domhnall Gleeson, who was in Star Wars, The Force Awakens. Trying to bring it back to Star Wars when I can. But he has that movie about time where he time travels, but there's that one point where he has a kid. He's got a son, and he time travels to the past. He changes things, and when he goes to the future, it's a girl. And he learns that after a certain point, if he jumps back to a certain point, like he can only go so far back because then things will start to change. So that just makes it even more sad. You had a son and now you have a daughter.
Right.
Have you seen that movie?
No. What's it called?
Right. About Time.
Oh, okay.
I think it's on Netflix, but it just makes me cry.
No.
The ending. That one's really sad.
I don't want to cry.
Don't watch it, but let's get back to the Future.
You mean Star Wars?
Star Wars, whatever we're talking about. What are we, Ghostbusters? What is this podcast? This is an exhaustive podcast.
Oh my goodness, it's a mismatch. Wow. This is what happens when you don't have a plan. And you just say, yeah, we'll talk about this. And it takes 10 minutes to talk through it.
Let's talk about watching paint dry. That seems interesting.
Yes. Oh, I think that's all I got. Yeah, I have nothing else, dude.
Was it an hour?
Yeah, we're at an hour. We're close enough to an hour to say F it and go for it. We've got hopefully have more interesting episodes coming up. The next 3 episodes right now, we've got some guests lined up. So we're going to talk some vintage stuff next week. We're going to talk, going to bring up the early bird, kind of do a deep dive into the early bird set. And then the week after that, we're having our buddy Jordan on. And I don't know what we're going to talk about with Jordan next, but and then we're talking
about modern
collecting. Okay, cool. Yeah, I love when I was like, dude, what are we going to talk to Jordan about? And you were like, Star Wars.
Modern collecting. And Star Wars.
I wanted to prepare for it. So cool. Y'all can talk and I'll sit and listen. I'll add my 2 cents in when I can.
So maybe next week I won't complain about Hasbro because we're definitely going to be doing that the following week.
I can't wait. It'll be great. And then the week after that, we're trying to get Alfonso on. He just got back from Galaxy's Edge. So we'll have another, like a brand new perspective on Galaxy's Edge and see how things have changed. And so, yeah, the next 3 weeks should be better than this week. We hope.
Oh, this week isn't bad. It was just a loose week.
It was loose. We probably should have drank before we started recording.
I don't need to drink. I'm too tired. I'm so tired. I'm starting to sound like Vin Diesel.
Family.
I don't need alcohol. I've got family.
Oh, man. All right. Well, we got it's 5 minutes left in the raffle. It's almost 5. So I got to get on and do that. Narayan's been texting me like every couple of hours. Where are we at? I'm like, dude, I don't know. I'm out. I can't stay on my computer and figure it out. I got to be in front of my computer because I can't do it on my phone because it's a lot of cut and pasting and stuff. And yeah, and then we'll go live and do that here in a minute. And hey, I bet you can't guess what we're going to have for dinner tonight.
The same thing I'm having. Pork. Tons and tons of pork. I mean, she was up until 11 o'clock each night for like 3 or 4 nights cooking pork.
Wow.
We were so certain we were going to have 60 people. And then people were leaving. We're like, here, take a bag of pork.
You did, man. I got home and I unpacked that bag and there's like a gallon Ziploc full of pork. And we're just like, oh my God, I guess we're having pork the rest of the week.
And buns. Well, I got pork. I got hot dogs and hamburgers. I've got potato salad and pasta salad and a giant sheet cake. 3/4 of a sheet. I might take that into work and be like,
just throw it on the it'll be gone. Dude, that thing will be gone in 5 minutes when you bring it to work. People can hear. It's like people can hear when a cake hits the break room table.
Yeah. Like little gophers popping out of their hole. What's that? What's that? You start running to the kitchen.
Yeah. Everybody will be like, see you walk in with that big cake and be like, Jason's got cake.
Yep, I do. All right. Let's wrap this one up.
We'll talk to you guys next week. This is the way.
This is the way.